We are now 2 weeks into 2026. And be honest, are you following through on the promises you made yourself January 1st? To help us assess New Year's resolutions, we are welcoming registered psychologist Joan Neehall to talk more about this. Now, Joan, before we get into more on this, why do people feel this need on the 1st of January to sort of reset and list a bunch of goals for themselves?
Good question. I mean, the new year brings us with it provides us with a fresh start, an ability to separate the old us to the new us, or the new person that we're going to be. Look, societal pressure causes us to make resolutions, and very often people feel they should, whether they're ready to do it or not. And the problem with resolutions is that once you make the resolution, you get a rush of dopamine. You feel good about yourself, and filled with this false hope syndrome, as we call it in psychology, people tend to underestimate the difficulty of the task at hand and to overestimate their future willpower. So we need to look at why these resolutions don't work, don't we?
Yeah, so that's my next question to you. Why do they seem to always fail, and fail pretty quickly? Like by February, a lot of them have fallen off.
You know, you're right. 80% of resolutions will fail by mid-February. And why? Well, first of all, I say if the resolutions are built on things like vague goals, like I want to be happy, I want to exercise, they're not going to work. Let's make them specific, time limited, and have some way that we can evaluate them. In other words, they've got to be a resolution that resonates with who I am, with my core. That's the first thing. Secondly, resolutions that are built on motivation and not on behavioral science will fail. The problem isn't resolution, as we commonly think. It's rather the way the resolutions are made. People try to change too much at once, and they fail to look at habits. And our behaviors are largely automatic, not a conscious decision as such. So those are some of the reasons why they fail.
So let's give some people hope here. What are your keys to success? If people want to set healthy goals that they can achieve or that they can at least work towards, what's your advice?
Yeah, well, let's look at 6 evidence-based strategies. The first one I would say is, instead of saying what you want to do, decide when and where, so you don't have decision fatigue. For instance, it's 7 a.m., it's a weekday, I'm going to go for a walk. Secondly, convert your resolution into embarrassingly small steps. I really mean small steps, so that they can become a habit. Philippa Lally talks about the fact that consistency trumps intensity. So I'm going to do this for 10 minutes every day versus, well, I'm going to do it for 1 hour intensely. And that'll be done barely. The other bit of good news is that once you convert it into a habit, it becomes automatic in 3 months' time. Think about it. It's like putting on your jacket. You don't think about it anymore. You just do it. But you got to track it every day. And at the end of the week, reward yourself for a job well done. Look at what you've been able to do, not how much is left in the future to do. Adopt the growth mindset. Now, that's really good. Carol Dweck developed that at Stanford University, and that means that when we're starting a new skill, a new habit, whatever it is, like yours might be being on top of your schedule, you've got to expect setbacks along the way, right? But that doesn't make us a failure. What that tells me is, okay, this is valuable feedback that tells me this is where I need to change now. So we're going to be flexible. We're not going to suffer from rigor mortis yet, okay? The next thing we need to do is to think in terms of stacking one habit onto an existing one. Say you want to increase your reading at night, for instance. You'd say, okay, I'm going to read for 5 minutes before bedtime. If it's nutrition, I get to add more fruit into my diet, not I'm never going to have sugar again. And we all like instant gratification. Let's have some fun in the process. For instance, while exercising, I get to look at my favorite TV show. Now, that's really different, right?
That is different, but it is smart, and I like the idea of stacking your small victories in there. Joan, we always appreciate your advice. Thank you for helping us keep on track.
Okay.